Hey, welcome everybody. It is the Friday 1 hour edition of Talk Back, brought to you by, and I love saying that, brought to you by Knife River Residential. Quality workmanship, competitive pricing, and attention to detail. Now for your home project, get a free estimate by calling 532-5250. Selway Armory on Stockyard Road. More guns and ammo than anyone in Missoula, Montana's premier firearms dealer. Bill Darling at Primary Residential Mortgage, where they promise you excellent service long after your loan is closed. Conflux Brewing, Missoula's newest downtown brewery, inviting you to take in the view from their oversized windows and open balcony at Patty in Maine. Far Side Sign is Missoula's leading full-service sign and custom vehicle graphic shop on South Avenue West. Set in stone, when nothing defines elegance and character, quite like a beautiful stone countertop. Check them out online at setinstonemt.com and by Transport Equipment. They service and repair all years and models of RVs, located next to the Axeman just south of the Y. That's all the time we have today. Just kidding. All right. Welcome, everybody. Glad to have you along on Talkback. Nick, how you doing, partner?
Good, Peter. Good morning.
Yeah, you been enjoying the NFL draft, first round? Right?
No, I was upset, but we'll move on from
That's
that.
all right.
Yeah. As the Giants fan, I was upset.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, no, Nick's upset.
All right.
Yeah.
So our friend Jenny Miriam is joining us this morning, Communications Director for the City of Missoula. It is City Talk today.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you brought a special guest with you, Chase Jones, right?
This is Chase.
How you doing, Chase?
I'm doing great. Happy Friday.
Well, welcome to the show. It's good to have you.
Great. We can talk about the NFL draft, too. I watched it.
You don't want to get me going.
Anyway, all right. But we're here now. Tell us a little bit about yourself. It says here, if I may read your little list here.
Of course.
He's Energy Conservation and Climate Action Coordinator for the City of Missoula. So
That's right.
so that's a kind of a mouthful of a title. So what are your duties? What do you do?
Sure. Big title, little guy. But yeah, it is true. There are lots of duties under that title. So I do have the privilege of serving as the city's Energy Conservation and Climate Action Coordinator. And without getting too much into the weeds, my work and my daily work life is really guided by three sort of foundational documents. And it started with the city's Municipal Energy Conservation and Climate Action Plan that was adopted in 2013 with the goal of carbon neutrality for our municipal operations. So pretty tight in scope.
Right.
That naturally led to a little bigger scope, and that was some community work that led to the adoption of our Community Climate Smart Action Plan. Also a carbon neutrality goal, but again, this is our entire community and not just our municipal operations. That scope is a little bit bigger with lots of extra focus. And then the third sort of is related to that Community Climate Smart Action Plan, but there was an exciting effort around moving our community towards zero waste. That led to another exciting public process and the adoption of what we call 0 by 50, or Missoula's Pathway to Zero Waste. And that has a goal of reducing what we send to the landfill as a community 90% by the year 2050, hence 0 by 50. We know it's a 90% goal, but in the world of zero waste, it's zero or darn near, and 90% actually qualifies as zero waste.
What's the acronym for zero or darn near?
Yeah, my world can be highly technical, and it also can be very folksy. So,
yeah,
and I'm from West Virginia, so I can relate to darn near.
There you
That's
go.
okay.
Tell you what, and with that, we're up against our first break. So I would invite, now you don't mind taking phone calls, right?
Not at all.
No, good deal. All right. So we have 4 lines open at 721-1290. Questions, comments, we'd love to have you. That's what this talk show is all about. And we have Chase here. We have Ginny here. We have Nick and yourself and myself. And we'd love to have you on the phone at 721-1290. Or, by the way, we are on Facebook Live. So everybody wave to our hundreds of Facebook followers. And you can also ask your question on Facebook if you're at work or you can't get to a phone. So we'll be right back with more of Talk Back in just a moment.
And we have Squirty the Wonder Dog.
Oh, she's fine.
I get one more.
Oh, sorry.
Such a good boy.
Jenny, do you know the answer to this question? Dean said, I've heard that the bridge across Reserve is heated electrically to melt snow, and he asked how many watts does it consume? Do you have any idea the answer?
The bridge across Reserve is, right?
It has
Wow.
heated panels, and I want to say they're solar.
I
So
don't
am I
know that
but
answer.
I'm not positive.
I haven't seen a great big fat extension cord hitting anywhere.
Yeah.
No, but-
some big plug-in.
But that's why I bring my notebook so I can
Yeah.
answer some of these questions and let you
That's
know.
I had no idea.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well,
How many
it's,
watts?
yeah, and it's good because you don't want ice to build up and then drop on
Right,
cars,
right,
That's
exactly.
right.
KGVO, this is Nick. Do you have a question or comment? Talk back.
This is fascinating to watch happen.
Correct. Yeah.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
I
Well,
love
you
it.
come over here. I'll show you my computer system. This is. I'm picking out music right now for going into breaks, coming in and out. Of breaks.
I just asked
So-
during the break to see if maybe Jenny knew, and she wasn't sure, but
Do you have access to
solar power.
basically any song?
Oh, not any song. Boy, if there's something you'd like, I can try
I'll
to
find
play.
out though, Nick.
Sometimes I'll just take one artist, like I might use Billy Joel today.
Sure.
And
And like everything is just
Yeah, and
electronically
They're
And,
always really good.
this is my log.
Yeah.
Has all my commercials in it. And so I have to take a break about every 10 minutes, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. And each one's about 2.5, 3 minutes. I have to do a 60-second break right here. So hang on. Do this right now. Here it is Friday. And what's the motto with the Jason Baker Western Montana Real Estate Team? Here it is Friday, only 2 more working days this week. It may sound funny, but it's really true. Jason Baker and his hardworking team are relentlessly working 7 days a week to do just one thing, and that's sell your home as quickly as possible and at the highest price possible for you. How do they do it? Well, let's start with Jason's accelerated demand program that ramps up the marketing for your home, drawing more prospective buyers that want to own your home. But that's not all. Jason can also provide an instant cash offer for your home, and then you get to choose the closing date. So put the hardest working team in the real estate business on your side, the Jason Baker Western Montana Real Estate Team. And they're standing ready to sell your home right now. Give Jason Baker a call at 552-4443. That's 552-4443, or visit Jason's extraordinary website, jasonbakerteam.com. That's jasonbakerteam.com.
There you go.
Okay,
Billy
we're back
Joel.
on Talkback. 721-1290 is our number, and here we go. This is, of course, Nick's over there. I was
Mhm.
hoping we had somebody on the phone, but not yet.
No, it was still it was Dean on Facebook, and we don't know the answer to this, but Jenny said she was going to look into it. He wanted to know how many watts it takes to heat the pedestrian bridge. So I don't know. We'll find
Now,
out.
are
though.
we talking about the pedestrian bridge? This one over here? Or just
That's
down
what
the
he
street?
said.
Okay,
Mhm.
gotcha.
Street.
Okay, all right.
Mhm. Mhm.
So there
Yep,
you go.
The new bridge. yeah.
I would imagine I haven't seen any big fat extension cords over there, so it's probably probably solar, right?
I know it's built into the panel.
Is it okay? All right.
But I couldn't tell you the heat source, but I will.
Yeah,
All right.
we'll figure it out.
Now go ahead.
Yeah, I just was going to add, to electrify things, there are always trade-offs like safety, for instance. And it just points to why we're doing this work. And we have an initiative to move toward 100% clean electricity. And so, that is just another example of how energy is helpful and we rely on it. And it's a great reason to work towards having that energy that we do consume be clean so that we can remain healthy.
So I guess my first question, in absence of callers, my first question is, why are we doing this? I mean, America is now the world's number one source for energy, both fossil fuels, natural gas, things like that, especially if they begin to do up in Anwar and off the coast and that sort of thing. We will be and could continue to be the world's number one source for energy, an energy exporter, that sort of thing. So what is the idea of all this conservation in Missoula that started, and now there's an even bigger one that's going right now? So
Sure. Yeah. At the highest level, this work really is rooted in what we value as Missoulians and what we value in our community and want to maintain and want to thrive, actually. And those values start at clean air, clean water, healthy people, a thriving economy, being physically responsible and saving money by conservation, and just being resourceful. I think those are Montana values. I think those are Missoula values, and things that almost universally we want to see, again, not only maintain, but thrive well into the future.
Okay. And go ahead, Nick.
Well, yeah, and I understand that, everyone is familiar with this topic and everyone has an opinion, right? So I know that you guys get a lot of backlash from people too about this. And so how do you guys respond to like those people that maybe think, oh, this doesn't matter. We don't need this.
Sure. Again, I would point them back to those universal values. And this work really does contribute to the health and viability well into the future of that. Also, we have an opportunity to not only maintain and improve the world in our current state, but we're going to leave this world to the next generation and generations moving forward. And so I think that also resonates with people, because what kind of world and community in Missoula, to make it local, do we want to leave to them? And again, I think a healthy natural environment, an opportunity to be a healthy person, and also an economy that is set up to thrive well into the future is the kind of future we want to leave to future generations.
Okay.
And
so I guess one question that people have asked me, because they think I know everything, and of course I don't.
Don't you? No.
Absolutely not. I don't even play that guy on TV. Is how much is all this going to cost? I mean, we in Missoula, times are tough economically. It's hard to buy a home. It's hard to buy land. It's it's difficult to get by on what we make, and so people are worried that the proposals that you folks are putting out are going to cost us all money to the point where we can't live here anymore. So,
sure. Yeah. Costs are a huge thing. And we're aware of the costs and we care about costs. The city of Missoula itself, just in terms of energy, is a large consumer of energy. And there's a real cost to that. Also, we're representing the citizens of Missoula. And we care about those costs and managing those as we're all trying to balance really tight budgets, right? And so just a couple interesting facts, or an interesting fact about energy. In strict terms of Northwestern Energy's current generation mix and some of those costs, coal strip, which we all know is coal-fired generation, it is coming in right now at the most expensive source of generation at $74 a megawatt hour. Just to throw out a couple other of those generation sources, Judith Gap Wind Farm is coming in at about $30 a megawatt hour. And another wind farm, the South Peak Wind Farm, at $22 a megawatt hour. And so that isn't to demonize coal. It has served a purpose and has been important in our energy sort of past and current.
But I would say that coal and other like natural gas and hydro are what we call basically permanent energy sources. They're not variable. If the wind isn't blowing, you don't have any wind. If the sun isn't shining, you don't have any solar. So you have to have something steady to keep that energy going, while the others are adding to the total of energy. Or am I wrong on that?
You're not wrong. And that reliability piece is obviously something to address. Like the economics of energy generation and electricity generation, that is also changing. And we have a different future that is better economically, and then also cleaner, which again maintains those values. And to explain a little bit, with that, some things that are developing, and it won't happen overnight, but it's becoming more viable, are storage. Mm-hmm. And that can come traditionally in the form of battery storage, which we all probably know. And again, those costs are coming down. That technology is improving very rapidly. Another really interesting storage piece that's being explored in Montana is called pumped hydro, where water is pumped uphill when it isn't needed and when electricity costs are lower. And then when it is needed, it is released and flows downhill.
We actually had somebody on Talkback about 5 or 6 years ago talked about that, and they were just experimenting with it.
That's right. Yeah. And so those are really exciting, again, affordable ways. And there are others, including hydro, like you mentioned, that can kind of provide that reliability. And then the other piece of this is an efficient modern grid is a huge infrastructure piece that is being upgraded all over the country, including Northwestern Energy has plans to do that. And as that grid becomes more modern and more efficient, it allows for all of those resources to turn on and turn off a lot easier, and it becomes a lot more flexible, so that the combination of all of those resources can provide that reliability.
With that, we need to take a break. We've got Brian waiting on the phone, and Nick is on the phone with somebody else. We have two other lines open. Chase Jones is here to answer your questions, and he's here to actually talk with you, not just me. Even though I can't imagine why anybody wouldn't want to talk to me. But anyway, I think he'd much rather visit with you guys. 721-1290 is our number. We're coming right back after to have this quick timeout. Okay, so we have Brian and Dean.
Peter, I love how you have Kirsten doing the crime report and all this gun stuff, and then you do an ad for the most guns in one building.
Yeah, Selway Armory. More guns and ammo than anyone in Missoula.
It's hilarious.
He's one of our sponsors. So,
I know. What can you do?
he's actually a great guy. He was actually one of John King's dearest friends. And off he went.
You went.
Are
Had
any
two old
questions coming in online? Or
colleagues in the paper
nah,
over for dinner
just
last
the
night.
Dean
Showed up
one.
and then- Remember Alika Rutland?
Yes.
Ted
She's a
also
night
had a
crime
question.
reporter,
Right?
she's an
Get to it. He
attorney
said,
now in
considering
North
the
Carolina. and
sunspot
she's
minimum
visiting
currently
with
forecast for
people
some
last,
time
but
to come, how
started
is the
talking
city
about
planning on
changing
spending
law
taxpayer
about
money to
funding
combat the
and
effects of
news
cooling?
Right, yeah.
and how journalists
Not sure.
have always been
I'm not real sure with that.
I don't either. Yeah, that's why I
Okay.
asked it yet. I was like,
Above the
I was
fray,
gonna wait till it
basically.
breaks. Yeah,
Right.
maybe you
And
asked
now
it,
it's just become
The sunspot?
it's the way
Okay,
to
so
do it.
considering
I will
the sunspot
tell you
minimum
that,
currently forecast for some time to come, how
I
is the city
am
planning on spending taxpayer money to
I am a
combat the
happy
effects of
dinosaur.
cooling?
Okay. In
I
that
don't know.
Okay.
very few people are allowed to do what I do, like go out and gather news and report the news in the morning. And basically, I Nick and I both do like 3 or 4 stories a day. We have plenty of audio. I mean, it's a nice little deal, but I don't know any other station in the state that does it anymore. There just isn't very much local news, and luckily we have a company that values local news.
You're very
So
also you do eventually have to face the fact that somebody has to pay for it.
oh yeah,
So we're finding out that corporate ownership of newspapers, that's not working anymore. So it's kind of like everybody's freelancing
mm-hmm.
podcasts, but somebody still has to pay for that.
Right,
infrastructure.
that's right.
I mean, Sherry was suggesting that students in the J school ought to be taught fundraising skills.
Yeah,
Hmm.
absolutely.
Interesting.
Well, yeah, I'm on the advisory board for the J school, and I said, okay, I'll pioneer that idea at our next meeting.
We'll just
Ooh,
talk about Econ 101. I mean, introduce that as a subtext.
yeah.
What they're doing. By the way, when you want to be able to fund your project, whatever, here's how you do it. So
Yeah.
that would be a useful tool in their toolbox.
Sure would.
We're going to go to the phones right now. So we're going to go to the phones right now.
And we'll hear it in the
Yeah,
headphones.
yeah, you'll be able to hear them.
See, I told you it's super fun. Super fun.
Hey, thanks for joining us on Talkback this morning. 721-1290 is our number. Chase Jones joining us here in the studio, along with Ginny Miriam from the city of Missoula. It's City Talk. That's what we call this show. And let's get Brian. Brian, first of all, thank you for holding, sir. You're on Talkback. Hi.
Yeah, morning. I called in to give him 2 questions, but Peter, you're totally right as far as energy output and so forth. I don't know where this guy got these figures, but they're completely wrong. His comparison with all that. But anyway, my 2 quick questions.
Hold on a second. Can you quantify that? Why what he said is wrong?
Because solar and energy, first of all, they have no storage capacity. Second of all, they're government subsidized. So when you're comparing facts and figures, he's not even in the realm of possibility. But here's my 2 quick questions, because
Okay.
it's just fun.
Okay.
Anyway, okay, he doesn't want any more landfill. Okay, now tell me what you're going to replace diapers with. And number two, he's going to clean the air up. Now tell me how all the people down the Bitterroot are going to get in here without vehicles. And that's all I got to say.
All right.
Good topic.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks for the call. So, obviously, he's very filled with humor about this subject.
Sure.
So go ahead. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Just some quick responses maybe to both of those. We actually aren't trying to do away with the landfill. It's a little bit the opposite. The initiative helps to extend the life of the landfill. The landfill actually plays a really important role in disposing what we have to. But if we don't send to the landfill what we don't have to, and there is another life for those materials, and there's real value in stuff we put in the landfill, it only extends the life of the landfill.
Right.
And then we don't have things like open space that we all pretty much universally love be filled up with landfills.
Right.
And so that's just a comment on that. So that's the first question.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. So, and the second is about he's saying that for solar there really is no storage. There is no if the sun is shining, great. If the wind's blowing, great. If not, then we're toast. So,
Sure.
because you had mentioned that there's some new technology out there, right?
That's right. Yeah. Gordon Butte is storage, and it is in development. So that's one thing. And then there are batteries on the market, and facilities are being built to, again, make batteries more efficiently and more readily available at an affordable rate.
Are we talking right now? Obviously, these things all start small scale, right?
That's right.
And then they eventually get to the point where an entire community can benefit. But are we on the cusp of that? Are we 5, 10, 15, 20 years away, or do you know?
It's hard for me to predict. Those are our forces and businesses and technologies, for that matter, that are a little above everything that I know. I think we're somewhere in the middle. We're not necessarily at an early adopter stage, but obviously it's not completely mainstream either.
Okay, let's get Dean on the line. Dean, first of all, thank you for holding. You're on Talkback. Go ahead.
Hello.
Hi, Dean. Go ahead.
Hi there. Yeah, your audio is really low on my end here. Well, it sounds like the previous caller basically took my point about solar and storage. And I guess one of the things that worries me is we're not focusing on how are we going to store the power that we need. We're in Montana. We do have very gray days in the wintertime, and that I would suspect is when we need the power the most. The other thing that I'm a real fan of is Amory Lovins' concept of megawatts. So, design out every single power requirement you can. And I see lots of government subsidies going to heated sidewalks, heated decks, and I don't know what the scale of those power consumers are, but it's something that I'm interested in, and I'd like to maybe get with you later on and get some real numbers.
All right. So, anything you can help with that, Chase?
I guess I'm not understanding completely, but I heard I think general topics of energy consumption again,
Right.
and again that's a great reason we're not proposing people stop consuming energy.
Mm-hmm.
It's important for our lives and our businesses, and that's again why we're focused on doing our best to clean up that electricity supply and keep it affordable and reliable with the initiatives that I discussed.
Okay. Well, we're up against another break. Emma is waiting very patiently. Nick's on the phone with somebody else. This is great. Let's get this conversation moving. He's only going to be here for another 28 minutes, folks. So if you have a question or comment, give us a call. It's 721-1290. Chase Jones joining us here in the studio, the Energy Conservation and Climate Action Coordinator for the city of Missoula. And we'll be back with more Talk Back right after this.
Peter, you need to get Dr. Layton back on.
What's that?
You need to get Dr. Layton back on the
Yes,
show.
absolutely.
Because
Who's that?
he can talk about, he happens to be my domestic partner, but he's been on the show before and
Mm-hmm.
really good callers. But he works in renewable energies and engineer. He went to MIT.
Oh, okay.
And he can talk about the technology that's developing, like with Gordon Butte to store the power of hydro and batteries to store what's generated by wind and solar.
Right. Because one of the questions that I had, or, you know, I'm absolutely positive that this is such a great country that somewhere out there's a Bill Gates of batteries
Oh, yeah.
who's sitting in his garage, you know, tinkering around and
Yep.
coming up with, or the Tesla, or whatever you want to call it.
Well, and that's who it is Elon Musk.
Yeah. So there you go. There's one guy.
That's right.
And I'm sure there are hundreds of others that
Yeah.
are working hard, trying to be the first or the best or whatever, or working on somebody else's plan.
That's right.
And but the thing is, government has this tendency to jump in there and want to get their fingers in it. They could just leave them alone and let them innovate
Sure.
and come up with something wonderful. And then, hey, the government could say, "Way to go!" You know,
That's right.
I think they're much better as a cheerleader than as an innovator.
Yeah.
So,
We need some good, strong capitalists who are maybe just as strong as the capitalists who work in oil
Yeah.
and coal and
Well,
natural
but
gas.
let me tell you, if you want to get
To
those
invest
folks on
in-
board, okay, if you want to get the Exxons and the Mobiles and all those folks on board, show them how they can make more money doing what you want to do
Yeah.
rather than what they're doing.
Yeah.
And that's where you'll get them.
That's right. Well, and they're already there.
Yeah.
I mean, BP, for instance, you know, their new slogan is Beyond Petroleum,
Right.
because they see the writing on the wall.
Yes.
They see how they can make money, and they are innovative.
Yeah, but- Okay, we're back on Talkback. 721-1290 is our number. We've got Chase Jones in the studio, and of course Ginny Miriam. This is City Talk. We have Chase, of course, is Energy Conservation and Climate Action Coordinator for the City of Missoula. Let's get right back to the phones because that's why we're here. Emma, good morning. Thanks for holding. You're on Talkback. Hi.
Good morning. I'm listening to your show, and I guess I do agree that, you know, we need to do something. There's no doubt about that. And I've gone to some conservation meetings, and when I go to those meetings, they talk about solar power and wind power. Now, I just want to tell you a little story. The other day I went into town, and I had a bag full of aluminum cans that I was going to recycle. And while I'm driving in, a whole trainload of coal goes by. And then I drive a little further, and right in front of me is one of those huge vehicles that probably gets 6 miles to the gallon. But, you know, I still end up at the recycle center, drop off my cans, feel good about myself, come back home, stop at the store to pick a few things up. And the things I'm picking up are in plastic, and some of them are double wrapped in plastic.
Right.
Can you help me? I mean, it's ridiculous. I'd like to do something, but when I see all that, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah. Thanks,
Emma.
Thanks, Emma. So go ahead.
Sure. You know, I would say keep understanding the issues and keep doing what you're doing and remain positive about what you're doing.
Allow me to just throw something here about packaging. Okay?
Yes.
The United States government has a lot to do with packaging. Okay, I mean they do, and when you see something that's double, triple wrapped, fourple wrapped, or whatever you want to call it, oftentimes that's codified, saying you have to do this in order for us to be able to ship it from state to state, to keep it safe and keep it from spoiling and that sort of thing.
Sure.
So I'm wondering if there's any way of working with the U.S. government to say, is there another way to do this without having to use all this plastic?
Sure. Yeah. You know, I won't pretend to know the United States government's role in
Right.
that.
Yeah.
I take your word
The
for it.
Department of Agriculture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously this is a problem beyond Missoula, and it's important for us to engage because when we can demonstrate that our community has a different vision, then we can get the ear of the United States government, for instance, and some of the corporations that you know are putting their product out in plastic.
Mhm.
And so that's important to remain the course locally, understanding that it's a bigger problem. And really that is the zero waste concept is kind of transforming or changing the understanding of how products are manufactured, delivered, consumed, and then go to the landfill. That's the linear economy.
Mhm.
It gets really at designing products from the start, all the way from extraction, production, delivery, and then making sure that they're designed from the get-go to have that next life beyond the landfill, so that you, Emma, as a consumer, have different choices and you can do your part, but you don't have to feel guilty about what you can't control.
I will tell you, there are cities now that are no longer taking recyclables because our relationship with China is so strained. They used to take all of our recyclables and reuse them and do whatever they would do with them.
Sure.
But now the Chinese and some other countries are saying, I'm sorry, we can't do that anymore. And so they're going to the recycling center. The recycling center says, I'm sorry, we can't take your recyclables because nobody's buying them.
That's right.
And,
Yeah.
And so what happens when we get to that point? 'Cause
Yeah.
we have aluminum cans. We want to do the right thing, as Emma said.
Sure.
But what if they won't take them anymore?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And I'll have to say, I can't blame China or other countries for deciding that they won't be the world's dumping ground anymore. And so, again, another concept of zero waste and something that we said all along in this process and is part of our plan is recycling is a very important piece of it, but we can't recycle our way to zero waste. And if you've heard of the 3 R's, or I've even heard of the 5 R's now, a group of first graders actually taught me.
Cool.
When I introduced 3 R's, they were like, there aren't 3, there are 5. And I'm like, okay, thanks for teaching me,
There you go.
first graders.
Reading, writing, arithmetic, and recycling.
Yeah. In terms of the waste stream, though,
Yeah.
it's reduce, reuse, recycle, and then rot, which is composting. And then one of the extras that they taught me, which is even before reduce, is refuse. And that gets at, letting folks upstream, whether it be the United States government and regulations or corporations, that we have a different vision and that we need their help in realizing the design and delivery of different products. And so those are sequential. And so if we can do our part to be resourceful and reduce what we consume,
Right.
and just be conscious of that, and then reuse what we can, and design at the get-go helps with that, then we will have hopefully very little to recycle, and perhaps we can develop domestic markets to deal with that.
If you can convince stockholders in these major, because they're all, public corporations, if you can convince stockholders that they can make more money in their investment by doing exactly what you're talking about, that's when things will change.
Sure.
you know,
Yeah.
And probably
Sure.
not before.
That's definitely part of it.
Yeah, exactly. So we're up against a break. So go ahead and make your point. Then we'll go to the break.
Well, I just wanted to jump in and say I was kind of laughing to myself because I saw Peter at the recycle on Saturday.
Right. Yeah.
There we were putting our stuff in there, and you can go there and feel kind of depressed and think, I'm just one person. They don't take half the stuff that I have. But then you think about 100 people are doing that. 1,000 people are doing that.
Right.
73,000 people in Missoula. And there is power in a number of us doing that. So you kind of have to think beyond yourself and think, I'm part of something bigger that's making a difference.
Right. Well, we'll party at the recycling center.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to come right back. And you guys are now official Talkback rock stars because you filled up our phone lines.
All right.
All right.
Oh.
721-1290. We have Jeff, Jeannie, Nathan, and Pete. And we'll come right back with more in a moment.
We haven't done that since Brian Hensel.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Brian's very popular with the listeners.
Snow removal and potholes are a thing, huh?
We were just doing snow.
Okay.
Oh, my
And it
gosh.
was-
Yeah, Brian.
yeah,
He
it was a lot.
he rocked the place.
Yeah, I told Brian we'd have him on again for potholes
Pothole season,
this
right?
next
Yeah.
month.
If you
we ever
want,
get
I'll
past
bring him
that.
back.
Yeah. Do you want to do 2 next month and have Brian do something and then do something different for the 4th Friday?
Yeah,
Because we could do that.
actually, we could do that.
Yeah.
See, Nick's trying to trick
Well,
me.
see,
Especially if I'm
the
gonna put
city of
together
Missoula,
those
it's so-
videos. See,
we
need
want to
more
do
of
the
them
same
now.
thing with the county. We want to get the county commissioners on
Yeah.
once a month. Or at least one of them. They could
Sure.
rotate. That's
Well,
once
you
a-
should do
we'll
the
grab
same
the
thing
new
you
one.
do with me.
one every 3 months.
Get Ann Hughes, their communications director, to bring someone.
I will be happy to do that.
I can even talk to Ann about it.
That'd be
and tell her
great.
It's
Yeah.
super fun.
And now, of course, unfortunately, we're losing
Cola.
Cola. And I talked to her yesterday. I said, "You're taking away the rose between the two thorns, okay?" And she laughed.
Before I forget, before we leave,
Yeah.
do you think we could take a picture?
Yeah,
And would it be okay if I posted it on our
Of course.
Facebook page?
absolutely.
It's just kind of fun to document what we do.
I'm not wanted in more than 3 states. So
I've been talking to Nick about he's going to build a City Talk archive.
Okay.
I think this is our fifth or
Something like
fourth
that. I'm not
show,
sure.
and now we have a body of work, and we can cross promote it
Sure.
on our website.
Hmm.
Make other news.
Well, there's no guarantee all the
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
I gotta be careful if I use
We'll have to take their
News
calls
organization.
first, though. If you really want to ask,
Oh no. Oh,
they're lighting up.
oh yeah. It has to be Cindy, right?
Yeah.
Stand by. Here we go.
All right. Yeah, I'll try it. Yep.
Okay, we're back. Thanks for joining us on Talkback this morning on City Talk. Right now, we're talking with Chase Jones, Energy Conservation and Climate Action Coordinator for the City of Missoula. And we want to get as many calls in as we can because that's what this is all about. So, Jeff, you've been holding the longest. Please go ahead.
Morning, all. Hey, Peter, I'm really enjoying the Billy Joel that you're playing this
Oh,
morning.
glad you like it.
I am too.
Great.
Go ahead.
It's really kind of a comment question. Montana has one of the richest reserves of thorium, which is a potential nuclear fuel. And there's been great strides lately with molten salt reactors in terms of a safe way to use thorium to generate electricity. So it's really kind of a two-part question, I guess. Does Missoula, if Missoula really wants to do renewable and zero emissions, nuclear is obviously a big part of that. So does Missoula have any desire to enhance the nuclear electrical generation industry? And if so, would Missoula be willing to be one of the pioneers in terms of bringing a cutting-edge nuclear technology, setting up a thorium reactor in Missoula to rival all of the water generation and wind generation and solar generation without the humongous environmental footprint that wind and solar bring? Because raptors are really getting killed by windmills, and lots of birds are getting fried by concentrating solar reactors, and nuclear is sitting out there going, hey, look at me, pick me, put me in, coach. And I don't see that happening. So I'm wondering if Missoula has even considered that.
All right. Well, thanks for the call, Jeff. What do you think, Chase?
I just have to be completely honest. Thorium and molten salt reactors are a new concept to me, and I'm grateful for Jeff to bring that up. And so I'd be probably remiss to comment on that. So I guess I'll just say that the 100% Clean Electricity Initiative, it is clean electricity, and one of the themes of it is, when new technologies we're made aware of, we will weigh those for all of their benefits. At the top of that list is clean and reducing greenhouse gas emissions, and so maybe I'll leave it at that.
Mm-hmm. I will say that there are two words that when people hear, they run like crazy. One is Fukushima and one is Chernobyl.
That's right.
In other words, 3 Mile Island. And I realize there are lots and lots of nuclear reactors that have been buzzing along, humming along for years without a single problem, providing safe, reliable energy. But those three things, as soon as someone mentions a nuclear reactor, okay, the freak out factor is huge.
That's right.
Whether it's deserved or not, it's huge. So let's continue. Jeannie, hi, you're on Talkback. Hi.
Hi, yes, I'll try to be quick.
Oh, no,
I know there are
take
a
your
lot of
time. Take your
people
time.
Calling.
What's on your mind?
I told Nick I had one question, but I actually have two, so I'll hurry.
Go for it.
I was just curious what educational background the guest had.
Chase.
And Chase, excuse me, thank you for coming on, by the way. But I also had another quick question. Is the network of ICLEI connected to any of the work that you're doing, Chase? And that's a UN program, started for sustainability. And I'll listen off air. Thank you.
Hey, Jeannie, thanks for the call. So, yeah.
Sure. The first question, I am a proud graduate of West Virginia University, and I have a journalism degree with a public relations focus in the School of Journalism, for what that's worth.
Okay.
I feel like that gave me some good skills in terms of understanding lots of different topics, being able to build relationships with experts and distill that knowledge into things that the public can understand. In terms of ICLEI, the city of Missoula is a member of ICLEI, and we use it for their greenhouse gas accounting software. I guess maybe a slight correction. ICLEI is not a United Nations organization,
Okay.
so I'll just leave it at that. But we do use their accounting software to calculate our emissions.
All right, let's move along to Pete. Pete, good morning. By the way, we have 3 lines open if you're trying to get through, 721-1290. Pete, good morning. Hi.
Good morning.
Hi.
Just a couple of comments. And number one, a cousin of mine lives just outside of Tampa, and it's in an area where they get their energy from a nuclear facility. And the housing there is in huge demand, and they're hardly on the market a week. And they come for sale because the energy is 60% cheaper than anybody else in the area. It's on that nuclear facility that's been there for 30, 40 years. And the other one I missed, Jetla talked about our natural gas generating capacity as being part of the mix for our supply, because it's pretty reasonable. And last but not least, I read an article in the Missoulian earlier this week. The director of PERC, which is in Bozeman, Public Environment Consortium, and his comment was thus: that the innovation of fracking and horizontal drilling, deep water exploration, you'd be surprised to know that the U.S. carbon emissions in metric tons has now declined to levels not seen in roughly 25 years. That's in spite of adding 65 million more people
Okay.
in our population since 1990.
All right. Well, thanks for the call, Pete. So are you aware of those numbers? Well, he's talking about fracking, right?
Sure. Yeah. It was a
Horizontal
little
drilling.
hard for me to hear him. I'm sorry.
that's okay.
So
Basically, he said the carbon footprint has gone down by 60% in some areas, in that particular area.
sure.
And so if that's true,
Sure.
and if it's quantifiable, is that something that natural gas, things like that you would say, hey, let's do more of that?
Sure. Reducing greenhouse gas emissions is a good thing, period. And in terms of both cost, which he mentioned earlier, and greenhouse gas emissions, there's a bigger picture discussion also. And, just costs of energy is one thing. And I said some stats at the top of the show, but we also need to consider the costs of cleaning up generating sources, pollution, and then also health issues associated to both of those things. You mentioned Fukushima with nuclear and their cleanup costs and health issues related to
And they're still
certainly
saying that,
coal,
right?
natural gas. And so it's more than just the cost of energy, although obviously that's very important. I'm not negating that at all, but it's a bigger picture look at both cost and greenhouse gas emissions.
When you think about Fukushima, I saw the documentary about that that was put together by the Japanese government, and the extraordinary compilation of events that happened with that, the biggest earthquake in the history of Japan right off their coast, that created that almost instant tsunami that totally overwhelmed. And they had thought that they had prepared for every contingency, but they had no idea that Mother Nature had a different idea. And
Sure.
it was just going to swamp that place. And it was terrible.
Yeah.
So anyway,
So moving forward, we get smarter and we do better
Yeah.
where and when we can.
you bet. We're up against our last break. It's a 60-second timeout. Brian and Emmett are both waiting to visit with you. By the way, you've been a great guest. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to come right back with more Talk Back right after this.
Someone on Facebook wanted to know if you're familiar with the program For Ocean, and they can contribute
Those
to
are the
help
guys
clean
that
up
cleaning
plastic
all
and
the
waste.
plastic when you buy the little bracelets.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know any details.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was just wondering if
Yeah.
we knew any Oceans are far away from us right
Yeah.
now. So.
But rivers and streams aren't.
Yeah, rivers and streams are huge.
Yeah. We don't have whales with 50 pounds of plastic in their belly when they die, but we have trout and river and stream health, which we
And it's
all
probably
again
our
value.
plastic.
That's right.
Hey, here we go. 20 seconds. This is a
Okay.
short break.
Great.
Hey, we're back on Talkback, and we are rapidly running out of time. So let's get right back to the phones. Our guest is Chase Jones, and again, he's the Energy Conservation and Climate Action Coordinator for the city. And we appreciate Jenny, you bringing him along today. Let's get Brian on the line. Hi, Brian. Go ahead.
Yes, good morning. I'm losing you. Is it on your end or my end?
No, you sound clear as a bell. Go ahead.
Good. Obviously, this young man needs a little more information in his quiver there. Okay. And he just kind of goes on talking points. And he'll probably, if he had more time, he'd say there's no such thing as clean burning coal. Anyway, Texas just put a brand new coal burning plant up. Brand new. And it puts absolutely no emissions of any kind, pollution, into the air. Clean burning coal. Got it? Okay. And you can look it up.
Now, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
How much did it cost, and how long did it take to build?
I didn't design it, and I didn't pay for it.
Okay, I was just curious. Go ahead.
Oh, hey, you get actually, unlike your guests there, you actually have skilled people. They can put it up pretty quick.
Okay.
But the thing is, he can look it up, and if he's got a third grade education and an opposing thumb, it has colored lines, show you what goes in, what doesn't come out. It's real simple.
You know, Brian, there's no need to be a smart aleck. If you have a question or comment, we'd love to have it, but let's not be rude, okay? Seriously. All right. Well, thanks for the call. Sorry, I'm sorry. I won't let anybody do that to my guests. Sorry.
Thank you.
Let's get Emmett on the line. Emmett, you're on Talkback. Go ahead, sir.
Oh, thanks for taking my call. Well, I have some concerns about what has been proposed as the Green New Deal. Now, I looked it up online myself at a certain place. I do like the idea of voluntarily having as many people as you want convert to, a clean energy or, green energy, but I don't think it should be imposed on all businesses and all homes in the United States. That's imposition by government, against a person's will. I think it should be voluntary. Plus, the goal is 100% renewable energy. That would eliminate coal and that kind of thing by such and such a years. And people have said that it won't eliminate cars or airplanes, but it would. And also, I'm a huge meat eater. I love red meat. I love steak. It would eliminate steakhouses and a whole bunch of other things, because how could you get the red meat to the groceries? And I am myself, while I love green energy as a voluntary thing, I am concerned about some solar. I mean, a lot of this will work, only by the weather, and the weather often won't cooperate. So I just wonder what our guests think of the Green New Deal and some of the problems I think it would pose.
Emmett, we're rapidly running out of time, so I'm
Thank you.
going to let him answer your question. So go ahead.
Sure. I'm only familiar with the Green New Deal at the highest level.
Right.
And, at the highest level, it seems to align with a lot of the work that we're doing. I'm pretty busy on our local initiatives that I mentioned at the top of the hour. I also think that conversation has a long way to go.
Yes.
And so maybe I'll leave it at that as far as the Green New Deal. But in terms of getting rid of cars, we're going to need transportation. And again, it's not getting rid of cars or not allowing people to own cars. It's finding a better transportation solution, which may include cars. But for example, a no emission electric vehicle powered by 100% clean electricity is a better solution in terms of a single occupant vehicle than what we have today.
Okay, let's try to get at least one. We have exactly 2 minutes left in the show. So Candy, you're on Talkback. Hi, we have 2 minutes. Go.
Yes, I have to beg to differ with Chase. ICLEI is part of a UN Agenda 21. I'm reading from Understanding Sustainable Development, and ICLEI was an integral part of UN Agenda 21. Agenda 21. Thank you.
All right, thanks for the call. So we have a minute and a half left, Chase. So
Sure.
I'll put you on your soapbox to make your pitch to the city of Missoula. We have about 20 to 25,000 people that listen every day.
Yeah.
So tell us what you think, where we're headed, and what we can do.
Sure. I'm grateful for the opportunity. I'm grateful to every caller. It's important that there are people questioning and being thoughtful about our world and how we want our community and how we want to live our lives. So first of all, thanks. Again, I'd just like to go back that this is rooted in values that I think are pretty much universal in the city of Missoula and certainly our community. And those are clean air, clean water, a thriving economy, healthy people, lots of open space, and a great, healthy wildlife population.
Good deal.
So that's that. And
how can we contact you if we want to get more information on this?
Sure. So should I give my phone number?
Whatever you feel comfortable.
Yeah, sure.
Email's
whatever. Probably the best.
Okay.
It's cjones@ci.missoula.mt.us.
Okay. ...
And if I may say one more thing too,
yeah.
Again, this is so important to talk through these issues. And I just want to focus on, this isn't about a perfect solution. It's about a better solution and a better way. And that happens incrementally. And I think Missoula knows that. And I think they're into it, and I think they deserve it.
Chase, thanks for being with us. Appreciate it. Ginny, thank you.
You bet.
All right, we'll see you guys on Monday. Have a great weekend. We'll see you then.